Hi, welcome back. We're going to go back into some fitness stuff today, and I'm going to be talking testosterone. What is testosterone? What does it do for our bodies? Why we might be lacking in it, and what we can do about that. So many males may have some symptoms which could point towards having low testosterone levels, and that might be even more of a concern in the current day than it ever has been before. I'm going to go into some of the reasons that might be and discuss some of the symptoms, and then discuss what people do about it and what I think is the most sensible course of action. This is a highly discussed subject on the internet. You know, a lot of people talk about testosterone and male health, male performance. That kind of bleeds over into a subject I've avoided quite a lot on this channel. I've had lots of questions about it, which is anabolic steroids, and I'm going to kind of break down where the two dissect, you know, from testosterone replacement therapy through to the use of anabolic steroids. You know, they are two very clearly different pathways, although they do share similarity, i.e. testosterone. So let's talk about first, you know, what does testosterone do? Well, it's the primary male sex hormone. It's an androgen, so it has virilizing effects. As we grow up, you know, when we're little, we need it because it's a developmental hormone. It plays a role in giving us a deep voice, body hair, facial hair. It's responsible for the growth of genitals. It's responsible for muscle mass. It's responsible for bone density in males. All kinds of different things. Plus, it plays a role in the body that it's responsible for general health. You know, there's a number of things that you may not even realize it's doing, but having the correct testosterone levels is vital for good health. It also has a psychological effect in that it's responsible for things like motivation, you know, ambition, drive, a kind of healthy level of aggression. So, a vital hormone for males. We have much more testosterone than a female would, and she has far more estrogen than we would, although both of us have both hormones. So females have a lot of estrogen and a small amount of testosterone, males have a lot of testosterone and a small amount of estrogen, and those levels are important. You know, when people say, oh, estrogen's bad for men, actually, you know, the correct level of estrogen is very important for men, for their health and for their psychology. You wouldn't want zero estrogen. That's not good at all. And the same for women. They say, oh, testosterone's bad for women. Actually, a small amount of testosterone is vital for women, and it plays a role in their general health and psychological state. So how do we know if we have enough testosterone? You know, what are the symptoms that we might notice if we're lacking in testosterone as men? So if you are the kind of guy that is going down the gym, you've got plenty of energy, you're in pretty good physical shape, you know, you don't easily get fat, you don't feel tired all the time, you're out doing things, you've got, you know, ambitious in your career, you've got a high quality sex drive, everything's going great for you, the likelihood is that you haven't got low testosterone levels. But increasingly we're seeing guys complaining that, you know, they don't feel like that. In fact, quite the opposite. So things like lack of energy, lack of motivation, an increase in body fat, especially an increase in body fat if you're really trying hard, you know, and you're trying to do a good diet and you're going to the gym and nothing's happening, and you're kind of still noticing that you've got body fat and you're not really building any muscle. That's a pretty sure sign that maybe something's going on there. Lack of sex drive is another big one, and that's very different to erectile dysfunction. They're two very different things. Erectile dysfunction would be where maybe you have sex drive, that you've got the interest, but your body isn't actually doing the right physical things. You're not able to get into an aroused state to actually have sex. Whereas lack of sex drive is where you just don't have any interest in sex whatsoever. So you might be able to physically do it, but you're just not actually interested in doing it in the first place. So that could be down to a low testosterone level. There are a number of symptoms, and those are just a few that I can easily discuss here. But I'll put a link in the description of a site, Optimale, that I've been looking at. That's a clinic in the UK that specialises in this, and we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. But you can go through the symptoms there and see if any of those match how you're feeling. So why do our testosterone levels decline? Well, number one, all testosterone levels decline as you get older. There will be some genetic freaks maybe that don't, but they are few and far between, or guys that have, very elevated levels naturally. But generally speaking, the majority of the male population is going to have pretty average testosterone levels. And then after about the age of 35, they're going to slowly decline over time. And unlike females that go through a menopause, males, it declines slowly over a long period of time. Whereas females get into a menopause and then their hormones kind of drop off a cliff. That's why females have HRT, and it's been very popular for many years. Because of the menopause and because of the symptoms associated with that and the extreme kind of time scale that it occurs in, there was a much higher demand for something to be done for females. So HRT became very popular and widely researched and promoted by companies, and the NHS would offer it, for example. Unfortunately for males, because it's a kind of long period of time that this happens over, it sort of gets brushed under the carpet. And TRT has not particularly been that popular. Maybe it is so in the last 5 to 10 years, but previous to that, it was a little bit stigmatized. Mainly stigmatized because testosterone is always associated with anabolic steroid use. That is one of the steroid hormones that is used by bodybuilders and powerlifters and all those kind of guys. And obviously that's on the increase recently, probably with social media and the need for men to want to look bigger and stuff. There's more and more young males using anabolic steroids. And there's two very different things going on there. One is a clinical need for a prescription medication to bring your hormone levels into line with where they should be for general good health. And the other one is, someone who's self-medicating with normally a black market substance in order to get bigger muscles, for example. So they probably haven't done it because they've got low levels. They've probably done it for a cosmetic reason. If you have concerns that you have low levels, how would you go about proving that? Well, you can get a test. It's very difficult to get a test through the NHS, especially nowadays in the UK. The NHS are absolutely swamped. And they're not particularly interested in things like, oh, I'm feeling a bit tired and I've got hormone fluctuations or whatever. They're probably going to just put you off. So you might find it easier to go to a private clinic, and you might think, wow, that sounds expensive. I had a good look, and Optimail, which is a private clinic in the UK, offers very reasonable tests for testosterone levels. So you can actually get a test there. I think they had an offer on it, was about £40, but even when the offer isn't on, I think the maximum price was about £60 for a test. And you need 2 of those tests, and if they both come up as low levels, you can then actually go on to get therapy from this clinic. And the therapy itself wasn't ridiculously expensive either. So once you've got the tests and you understand that, yes, you've got low levels, is there anything that you can do that doesn't involve, therapy from the clinic? The answer to that is probably yes. For a lot of people, there may be steps they can take to actually increase their testosterone levels. So some of the things that would decrease our levels are things like diet. If you've got a very poor diet, drinking alcohol, for example, is a big one. A lot of people that drink large volumes of alcohol on a regular basis will always have low testosterone levels and high estrogen levels, interestingly. That may be why guys that drink a lot of beer get quite fat around the midsection, because it's not just high calorie, it's also promoting estrogen and lowering their testosterone levels. Lack of physical exercise. Not only do people avoid going to the gym, but now we live a very kind of sedentary lifestyle where it's popular to sit on Facebook, watch TV, go on Instagram, all these digital aspects that we have in our lives to make things easier. But that leads us maybe to not going out and doing things that we would have used to have done, go and play football in the evenings or go for a walk with the family, whatever it was. People are generally more sedentary. Then you've got factors out of your control, like pollution. It might be the fact that the meat you're eating has various different additives in it which aren't particularly good for levels. There might be things in water, for example, that aren't particularly good. There may be things in the air that aren't particularly good. And that's just to do with living in a modern society that's industrialized and has various different pollutants in it. I think microplastics has had a lot of press as possibly being responsible for issues with testosterone levels in males. So of course, you know, given all those things, we could go down the gym more, we could do more exercise, we could eat a healthy diet, we could not drink alcohol. Those are kind of difficult. You know, if you're suffering from low testosterone levels and you're feeling really down about yourself and you've got no motivation, you've got no interest in going out and doing anything, then just getting yourself down the gym is going to be a huge leap, and it may be very difficult for some people to do that. Now, even having regular sexual activity has been shown to possibly boost testosterone levels, but that's another self-fulfilling cycle, that if you have no sexual desire, and especially if you've got no confidence and you've got no motivation, the likelihood of you going out and finding sexual partners is pretty low. And if you have no sexual desire, then you're probably not even going to be doing anything with yourself. So that's going to fulfill itself as well, that you're not going to boost your levels that way either. Is there a magic supplement on the market, you know, that you can just buy off the internet? No, there isn't. You know, I've taken a look at some of these supplements before. There's literally no scientific evidence that any one of these supplements will actually permanently boost your testosterone levels or even temporarily boost them. I tried Tongat and Fedogia, which were probably the nearest supplements I found to anything that had any scientific backing whatsoever, and although I got a little bit stronger while I took them, I certainly didn't notice any other effects. You know, I had no increase in sex drive or anything that would make me believe that my testosterone levels had increased. So of course, as we discussed, you know, the only true way of boosting your testosterone level would actually be to add testosterone exogenously, and some people, as we mentioned, might choose to do that via the black market. That's a very bad idea because A, they don't know what they're getting, so they could be injecting or taking something that isn't even testosterone. It might be harming them. It might be even reducing their testosterone levels further. It could even be another anabolic steroid which isn't testosterone, and that would completely shut their testosterone levels down to zero. So if they were to take an anabolic steroid that wasn't a testosterone base, so something like decagerabulon, then that's going to completely reduce levels to naught. So they might see some muscular gains while they're on it, but then it's going to take months and months and months for their levels to come back to the even low level that they started with. So they're going to end up a lot worse than what they started. You've also got no way of monitoring that. So you might be taking the wrong thing. You might be taking something that's really bad for you, and you wouldn't even know what your testosterone levels were whilst you were doing it without getting the right blood tests. Even if you got the right substance, the chances are it's probably been mixed up in someone's kitchen, so it's not legitimate, and it could have impurities in it, so you might end up with an abscess or something like that. And you're probably not going to be aware of the dosage. I doubt if the people that make it are even aware of the dosage. So again, without testing your own blood levels, you're never going to know if you're taking the right dose. And at very high levels, testosterone can have some unpleasant effects. You might end up growing breast tissue, gynecomastia, because testosterone at high levels will convert to estrogen in the body. You know, there's a kind of feedback loop in the male body that won't allow the levels to go that high without some being converted over to estrogen. That's going to have its own issues. You might also find you get things like acne, mood swings. You know, there's all kinds of associations with unpleasant side effects, and also more serious side effects, like you may be damaging your liver, you may be enlarging your heart. So those are things that may be irreversible and are going to be really, really harmful to you. So I would strongly suggest that if you have got low testosterone levels, you don't go down the dodgy supplement route on the internet and try and buy some magic pills. You don't go down the black market steroidal route and try and sort it out yourself, that you actually do engage with a clinic. So this Optimale place that offers the blood tests, I'll throw a link in the description. I've got no affiliation to those guys. They were just one of the clinics I looked at which had good pricing, had good reviews, and seemed like a very professional outfit. In the future, I'm away for a few weeks at work, but in the near future, I'm going to get my levels checked and I'm going to throw them up on here. I've been suffering from just sort of extreme tiredness, I guess, easily overtrained, feeling really worn out all the time. So I'm interested to see what my testosterone levels are. They may be fine, it may be something completely different. I might have long COVID, who knows? But I'll be interested to see what the levels are. And if they turn out low, then obviously I'll engage with the clinic and go from there. If they don't, then I'll explore what else it may be. Maybe I've got something that I'm lacking in my diet that I haven't realised. I hope that has been of some help, that there will be some guys out there that recognise maybe some of these symptoms, and it gets them to, get off their bums and actually do something about it, to engage with the clinic, because this is probably something that's going unrecognised a lot of the time. And like I said, the NHS are not really going to be able to help you with this, or they haven't got the staff and the resources to help, to be fair. So it's something you're going to have to take on board yourself and show a bit of initiative. And from what I can understand, people that I've spoken to that did have low levels, they have had a much better quality of life after sorting it out. So it really is worth exploring. If you're sat at home, you're feeling depressed, you're lacking in self-confidence, you're fed up with the way your body looks, this is certainly a route that may benefit you if that's why. I look forward to doing another one of these. Hopefully next time we'll be going down the route of getting a blood test and seeing where we're at. Take care, guys. Have a safe one. I'll catch you all later.